If you've been keeping up on my channel, then you'd be aware with the fact that I'm a huge fan of DC Comics and Batman comics in general. But there's one character that I've yet to talk about, which is Green Lantern. It's safe to say that Green Lantern is one of the most coveted and beloved superheroes of all time. And after recent news that James Gunn is planning to reboot the DCEU, it had my mind racing. I was thinking about how a hypothetical Green Lantern film could look in the DCU, and why I think he needs a film so badly. I mean, his last on screen iteration was not very well received by audiences and critics alike. And ever since then, writers have been scared to touch the character. Some have even teased the movie in unrelated projects.
God damn, that's beautiful.
You're welcome, Canada.
Because of this, fans are unaware of the amazing Green Lantern stories that there are in the comics and how good of a character he is. And as a DC fan, it's very frustrating to see inferior characters, like for example, She-Hulk, no offense to anyone who likes her character or her show, get her own TV show. But you want me to believe a character like Green Lantern can't get one? You know what? Let me just show you why I think Green Lantern's such an amazing character. So if you're aware of any of the DC animated movies, then you might have heard of a movie titled Green Lantern First Flight. In this movie, we get to experience a story about a young Hal Jordan who's learning to use his power and become the Green Lantern. I say this movie gave us the definitive version of Green Lantern, and its themes of will and a coming of age serves as a perfect story. Hal is likable in this film, and if you think Green Lantern is garbage because of 2011's Green Lantern film, then woo, you need to see this movie because it will definitely change your mind. The world building is amazing, and Hal develops into an amazing leader. He often clashes with Sinestro due to their opposing philosophies, and while Sinestro can predict the downfall of the Green Lanterns, Hal attempts to give hope and to change that fate. Sinestro points out the hypocrisy of the Guardians, and this makes him an amazing antagonist. Since I've seen movies like Infinity War and The Dark Knight, my opinions of antagonists who are somewhat right and can be arguably correct in their instances have made my opinions of Sinestro go up massively as I've rewatched this film. Okay, enough said about this. You might be asking, but Auden, what about this movie? What about the 2011 Green Lantern film? And why do you not like it as much? So with the release of the Green Lantern movie, DC intended to replicate the formula of the MCU and use the movie as a starting point for their cinematic universe. Kind of what Iron Man was, but it obviously didn't have the same effect. Everything that First Flight does right about Hal's character and the Green Lanterns as a whole, this movie does wrong. It doesn't even have similar themes. The pacing is horrible, and they try really hard to make Green Lantern like Iron Man. The jokes don't really land, and it's kind of uninteresting. It's clear that they misunderstand Hal's character in this movie, and the virtues that his comic counterpart has are really just non-existent. In comparison to his counterparts, he's not as good as a leader or hasn't even faced as many conflicts. Since he doesn't persevere, it doesn't even feel like he deserves the ring once he gets it. He doesn't even really do anything to get it. It doesn't feel like he's earned it. Green Lantern doesn't even attempt any world building and offers a surface level description of what Green Lantern actually is. And well, because this movie was made in the 2010s, the directors and writers were scared to do things that were seen as unorthodox at the time. Things that you've probably seen in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor Ragnarok. The exposition is very lackluster, and due to this, it fails to be a compelling film. While on the other hand, in the comics, the ring is more meaningful, and once Hal gets it, we really feel as if Hal has earned the ring. Another example is when Green Arrow puts on the ring and struggles to hold on to its power, which gives the ring more significance. And I think that's the main issue with this movie. The ring needs more significance. Even against Parallax, Hal must remain focused and despite being in the clutch of defeat, doesn't give up. He's an amazing leader and doesn't feel like such a yes man. It's consistently shown that in the Green Lantern movie, once Hal gets his ring, he kind of just agrees with anything that the other Green Lantern says. He doesn't really try to propose any opposing ideas to their philosophies. The comic expresses how emotions are significant, but the movie mainly only focuses on will and fear, when there are other emotions out there like rage, greed, love, and hope. And the movie doesn't touch on these other things at all. The corps as a whole beats the odds, and this makes us like these characters even more in the comics. And because of this, they succeed. And this is where the live action version fails tremendously. They try to do something like this, but it just doesn't have the same effect and significant impact like the comics version does. And don't even let me get started on Jon Stewart as a character. Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, and Kyle Rayner are arguably just as good as a character as Hal Jordan is. They are the embodiment of what Green Lantern truly is, and the perfect example of this is in Justice League, where we get to see Jon Stewart the most. Jon Stewart has amazing chemistry with the other Justice League members, and if you've watched my The Beauty of Batman the Animated Series video, then you'd understand why I think that Batman paired with this version of Green Lantern serves us one of the best dynamics on screen ever. Guy Gardner is also really cool, and Kyle Rayner becomes the White Lantern. Do you guys finally understand what I mean? Green Lantern is such a cool character, and I feel like if he was just done right and if he was just written well in a movie, one of the best DC characters put on screen. But you know, who am I to say that? I'm just a fan. I don't know what's right or wrong, and I've never even written a movie before. But what I can do is explain it from a fan perspective and try to enlighten you guys. Given this, if you guys enjoyed this video, I just please appreciate if you guys would like and subscribe. Also, recommend this video to a friend and drop some ideas for new videos down below in the comment section. And with that being said, Auden out.